Hey vinyl community. It's been almost a week, so I thought I'd come and say hello. You may notice something different. One of my posters, my eBay posters, has arrived. This is for Godard's Alphaville from 1965. That's an original Italian cinema poster. Beautiful, as you can see. This was actually hung inside an Italian cinema back in 1965 when Alphaville came out. As you can see there, it says today at the Odeon. It's got Sunday up there in Italian. I don't know if you can quite see that. But yeah, Jean-Luc Godard. This is like a French New Wave classic. It has Anna Karina in it, Eddie Constantine. That's an amazing likeness of Eddie there, as you can see. Just a beautiful poster. I had to have it, so yeah, that's proudly on my wall at the moment. I'm loving it, so yeah, I just thought I would show you. And yeah, I thought I'd talk about some records. That's what you're here for, I imagine. So yeah, I had a really cool new find yesterday. It's been a while since I've had a really decent find in the wild, and I try not to buy online really, because if I did I'd be poor, so I mainly just buy in shops or wherever I can find them. And yesterday I happened to come across this one, John Coltrane. Now, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that name. Is it Bahia? I don't know how you say it, but Bahia. I don't know how you say it, but yeah, anyway, John Coltrane, so you can't go wrong with that. This is an original UK copy from 1965. On stateside, EMI. I'll pull it out because I know some of you like to see the labels. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool find. I love John Coltrane. You know, obviously a saxophone legend, incredible musician. I mean, where do you start really with John Coltrane? If you know jazz, you know John Coltrane. If you don't, then check him out because he was amazing. I believe this is late 50s recordings that they put out in 65. I'm not quite sure why it took them so long, because it's great really. It's not one of his best, but very, very good. It starts off quite sort of, you can kind of see where he's going, quite sort of almost avant-garde sounding. And then it slowly kind of goes into more of a chilled out standard kind of jazz for the rest of it. But really nice album. I got it for £9. £9. It's for sale for 10, but I know the guy in the shop and he was like, oh, you can have it for 9. So yeah, brilliant. I couldn't believe it. Not quite sure why he marked it for so cheap, because it's perfectly fine, but yeah, I'm not complaining, so yeah, cool. I listened to this one yesterday, Herbie Hancock, Maiden Voyage. This is a jazz classic, wonderful. This is one of those albums that's just perfect really. If you know jazz, you know it, most likely. If you don't, and you're interested in jazz, check it out, because it's just beautiful, fantastic playing all the way. Here you have Freddie Hubbard, George Coleman, Ron Carter, Anthony Williams, so yeah, legendary people there. Just a wonderful album. This is an original American copy that I found at a record fair a few years ago. Really glad to have it, because it sounds fantastic, and I'm sure you jazz guys know there's nothing that sounds quite as good as an original Blue Note on vinyl to me. I mean, the cymbals, the drums, the sax, the trumpet, everything just sounds amazing, like it's in the room on one of these original Blue Notes. I don't know what they were doing, Rudy Van Gelder was doing, but it was working, because incredible sound, natural sound. I've heard people say, oh, it's not technically natural, they did stuff to it, but it sounds real to me, so good enough. I listened to this one last night, Charles Earland, Odyssey. This is like an interesting mix, really. Kind of like if you like your jazz fusion, like your sort of Mahavishnu stuff. If you like funk, if you like soul, this is a mix, really. 1 minute it will be like blistering guitar, then the next minute it would be like soul, chilled out soul, and then it'll be like funk, and then it'll be back to fusion again. And you're like, this album is all over the place, but it's really good. So if you like kind of a mix of that kind of stuff, I reckon, check it out. Really cool album. Listened to this one earlier, Nucleus. We'll talk about it later. This is an original UK copy on Vertigo. You can see the label there. Just a fantastic album. Ian Carr, the trumpeter, this was his band. I was just thinking to myself earlier, what an interesting label Vertigo was. They had like the Black Sabbaths and the heavier stuff, and then the prog stuff, and then the jazz stuff as well. This great mix, amazing mix for the time of music. Still is amazing, people still go crazy over these today for good reason, so just an amazing album. If you like jazz, if you like funk, if you like prog, if you like interesting music, check this album out. It's really, really good. Well, on the Vertigo theme, Colosseum, Valentine Suite. This is an original copy from '69. The first album that came out on Vertigo actually was this album. And what a way to go, what a way to start. Prog, jazz. If you like that Nucleus I just showed you, you'll like this one as well. Just amazing musicianship, incredible, just dynamite this stuff is. It's just brilliant jazz, progressive, just fantastic music, really interesting, great energy, just brilliant, really brilliant album. One of my favourites actually, that one. It's funny because John Heisman, who was the drummer for this band, Colosseum, I was in a record shop yesterday, and I heard the guy behind the counter talking, and he was saying how he bought his record collection, and how he was a bit cantankerous and a bit like, oh, I hate records, and because I can hear my mistakes on them, I hate albums. But yet he made loads of cool albums, and like apparently he had like an acetate of his first recording and didn't give a damn because he just wasn't important to him, and I guess it was just all about the music, which is kind of cool in a way, just purely about the music and doesn't care about albums in a way. That's kind of cool, but at the same time it's like, well, those albums are an expression of your, they're your art, your art, so I don't understand why you wouldn't like them. But anyway, that was an interesting conversation I overheard anyway. Here's the inner. But yeah, brilliant album. There's actually footage of them on YouTube that I found years ago. I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but you can find it. It's really cool. Look inside the Asylum Choir. This is Leon Russell here, a young Leon Russell, and then Mark Benno there. Brilliant album. This is an original UK copy. I think the American copies had like a toilet roll on the front cover, and with the title Look Inside, you can kind of guess what they were going for there. But for some reason, England didn't like that cover. I couldn't think why, and they went with this one instead. This one is far superior. It's beautiful. Look at it. I mean, that beautiful psychedelic cover there. Wonderful. And this album is incredibly, incredibly good. Leon Russell, to me, this is some of the best stuff he ever did. This is brilliant from start to finish. This is absolutely inspired. He was, his acid was working by the sound of it, because this is so good. Psychedelic, funky, soulful, just brilliant songs. Not, you could play this today and it still sounds cool. I mean, this is really, really great. If you've never heard this album, check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, because it's really, really good. I think it's like 1968, I think that one is. But yeah, fantastic album. Played this one the other day, Spring from 1971. This is a reissue on Akama. The originals, if you know this album, go for an absolute fortune. I saw one at a record fair last year, a mint one for £1,000. So yeah, a bit pricey, you might say. Fantastic album. It's funny because I remember watching a video on YouTube years ago and it had the singer from this band talking about how at that time the album was going for like £300 and how he was so happy that it was appreciated because it wasn't back then, nobody gave a damn, but he was really happy that people would pay that sort of money for it at that time. And I was like, well, I wish it was 300 now. There's a lot more than that now, about 3 times that. But yeah, for good reason. It's a fantastic album. If you're rich, then if I was rich, I'd buy an original. But to spend that sort of money on one album is insane to me, unless you are. So I'm quite happy with my reissue for now. Although I did see another original recently on a wall of a local record shop, and I was kind of like, oh my god, I wish I could have that. But yeah, as I say, one day perhaps. But anyway, brilliant album. Never mind original pressings. It's about the music that counts ultimately, and this is fantastic. If you like prog, if you like, I don't know, it's hard to describe really. This is kind of in a class of its own. It's kind of melodic. It's got that what's the word I'm looking for? The organ, the I can't remember the name now, but the style of organ. It's slipped my mind for whatever reason, but yeah, mellotron. Hallelujah, mellotron. Yeah, it's got mellotron on it. But yeah, just a brilliant album. If you've never checked out Spring, it's like a classic of record collecting, really, for a good reason. This is brilliant. This one's a cool one I listened to earlier. Tracy and Eloise Schwartz, Our Kind of Music. Now look at that cover. That to me is like an iconic cover. I saw that in the record bin at a local record fair, and I was like, that. It was really cheap, like £3 or something, and I was like, that looks cool to me. And it is. If you like kind of stuff like the Stanley Brothers, Americana, the Carter Family, that kind of country, bluegrass, folk, down home, just feel good, gets you right in the soul music, then this is for you. Really, really good. Very good. It's on Old Homestead Records, which I guess is some kind of private press, maybe. Here's the label. I don't know if you Americans out there might be able to tell me a bit more about that label, because I've never heard of it until this album. But yeah, it's really good. If you like your Americana stuff, then definitely check it out, because I really like it. Last one, I listened to this one earlier on, the Blade Runner soundtrack. Music to have an existential crisis by, or just relax, whatever you're in the mood for. A classic film, which deals with, kind of, like I say, existential thoughts of like, who are we and why are we here and why is Sean Young so attractive? But anyway, yeah, great film, classic music, Vangelis, legendary Vangelis, beautiful kind of ethereal, just magical music really. Something special happens with this music and the film, obviously. It's just one of those things that came together in perfect harmony, and it's wonderful. If you've never heard the soundtrack, if you've never seen the film, then check it out. Brilliant, classic. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this light has been okay. It's in person, it's like a beautiful orange colour, and it lights up the whole area and looks lovely, but on camera it's just kind of washed out and perhaps blinding. I don't know, hopefully it was okay. yeah, I just really wanted to show you this poster because it's super cool to me. And yeah, until next time, peace.